Hello, all you beautiful people. Zack, Dowdy here. Today we're talking about style in skateboarding. I'm going to be talking about how I developed my skateboard style over the last 20 years. We're going to go more into the details of just how you do tricks and how you look when you're riding your skateboard, or how specifically I got to where I am today. I think the first thing that I did when it comes down to style, and a lot of these things were subconscious, to be honest. When you're developing your style, it is a process. That is the most important part, and I want to make sure that I make it clear. These 8 different things are a way I've dissected myself into where I've gotten today, but it doesn't mean you need to take these steps. These are just how I've kind of thought about it, but it was a subconscious thing when it was going on. And the first thing that I think that really helped me was finding inspiration and drawing inspiration and knowing what I liked. Personally, I really just enjoyed transition skateboarding. That's kind of just like what I gravitated towards. I like when guys were doing really high airs and slapping their tails on the coping, or doing really long grinds, and just the way the pull coping sounded and the way they looked on their board. Like, they just looked really cool. I really enjoyed the aesthetic of how they were riding their boards, and they're kind of flowing. And when I saw tech skating, it didn't really resonate with me quite as much. So that's the first thing, is like finding what resonates with you and finding that inspiration, because that is gonna drive you towards some sort of direction. And this can be like come off as mimicking or copying other people. I'm not saying you should copy other people, but finding inspiration is gonna help you understand why you like those people. If you like Dennis Business, you probably enjoy like fast tech street skating. Now, the second thing I would say is my style is super unnatural at first, and I adapted to my environment. So I think that's important. Adapting to your environment, what is around you, what's accessible for skateboarding, what's the resource you have? Is it a skate park? Is it just flat ground? Is it, only transition? Those kind of things are gonna develop your style. For me personally, I went to Ocean Beach skate park quite a lot when I was young. I went to a lot of skate parks. I went to the Mission Valley skate park, went to a lot of skate parks here in San Diego, but I think the skate park that taught me the most as far as my style and developed my style was Shaka Skate Park in Ocean Beach. It is a very wide open skate park. There's a lot of flow. You can go in and out of bowls. You kind of need to know how to get speed in order to do tricks. So that kind of worked to my advantage. I wasn't able to just focus on tricks right away. I kind of had to learn lines. I had to learn how to get speed, and how to pump certain things, and steep transition, mellow transition, going up banks, and all these different things, and just figuring out the different weight distribution and stuff like that, flying in and out of bowls. So I think I got a lot more comfortable on just riding my board at that skate park, and adapting to that environment has allowed me to be more like vigilant on transition. I feel like I can like pop in and out of areas probably quicker, and be just, able to find speed where maybe somebody else couldn't find speed, just because that's what my environment enabled me essentially to do. Now, like I said, I was very unnatural at first. My style is not very good. I don't think now it's very good or anything to brag about. It's more just a developed process. It's definitely gotten to a place where I feel more comfortable on my skateboard. I feel more confident, and to me that means I probably have a style that doesn't look too goofy. It's enough to where I feel like I know what I'm doing on a skateboard, and I don't feel like I'm gonna fall off. I think style and the way that you feel on your board normally do correlate. But the third thing that I wanted to get into is starting to understand your tricks and how you're doing them. So one example for me was frontside 5-0s. That was one of the first tricks that I really started to focus on how I was doing it. I wasn't just trying to do the trick, but I was trying to do it longer, stand up on it, and trying to not drag my tail. I was trying to really find the pinch in the 5-0 and how to just really stretch it out. And I'm gonna get into this later, is because there was somebody around me that was doing something similar that I really liked. They were doing this really long 5-0, and in my head, I was like, that's how I wanted to do it. So starting to realize how you're doing tricks, and then perfecting those tricks. So one thing that you could do is, if you have your go-to stable trick, which a go-to stable trick would normally be something that's you can do fairly easy, but is at your highest caliber. So doing that trick and then trying to perfect that trick, and then trying to get it to look even different, or doing it in different ways, which will allow you to figure out the style that you're going to gravitate towards and develop your own style within that process. So I think really diving into how you're doing the tricks is going to allow you to understand it. Backsmith, for example, is another trick where I personally would just kind of get into it by slapping in and then like riding out almost like a 5-0, but just try to dip my front truck down, but I wasn't hitting my rail. And then I took a long time practicing that trick and just figuring out, because I wanted to hit the rail. I didn't want to do it the way that I was doing it because it wasn't in the style that I wanted. So that's what I'm getting at, is just really working on your craft and perfecting the way that you execute things is going to allow you to really process your style even further than whatever it is when you first started doing that trick. The fourth thing that I'll say is the trick selection and the tricks that you decide to do and the tricks that you decide to learn. That all goes in with style, because like I was saying in the very beginning, if you like aggressive skating, you're going to get into like big airs or just big ollies and have kick flips on lockdown triple sets or something. But if you're into tech skating, you're going to have more like nollie flip crooks on ledges on lock. So it's like knowing the style, and as you find that, you're going to figure out the tricks that kind of correlate with that. Now, to break all barriers and just break stigma of styles altogether is like you break all the rules that I'm saying in this video. This is just like traditional way of saying things, because you know, I don't want to make this narrow mindset like you have to skate like this person in this style and that's what makes style, because that's not true. I think the best style of skaters are people that can do it in all sort of different ways. Like they can skate aggressive street, they can skate tech street, they can skate big transition, they can skate small transition. You know, they're more all around well-rounded people. Those are the people that in my opinion have the best style. But the point that I'm getting at is knowing how you want to do the tricks, like I was saying before, but not only that, what tricks you want to do. So if you're putting a video part together for, say, you want to know, okay, how do I want that to look? Like, what is it going to be? Am I going to, you know, have some slow areas where I'm doing tech stuff? Am I going to have fast area where I'm doing gnarly stuff? And what are those tricks looking like? And as you think through those things and as you start to do these things, this is like crazy psychoanalyzing skateboarding, but that will also develop your style as well. The fifth thing that I will say that I kind of thought about is your fluent versus like aggressive standpoints. And I know I kind of said that, but it is something that like kind of comes beyond everything else, because you can do all those other things but still either have like a more power stance or a more soft feet kind of type of person. So for me personally, I've always found like that medium area. I've always wanted to, like, for example, I draw a lot of inspiration from Steve Bailey. He's always riding his back feet, kind of like his feet are always in the back of his board. It looks like he's cruising. But I also love someone like Sam Hitz, where he's like really aggressive, you know what I mean? So I think for me personally, I try to find that balance, because I like when tricks can look really elegant, but at the same time they have power and force within them. So it is a little bit of hybrid for me, but those little things have helped me in the long run. Not thinking about it, of course, but like all these different things over time has kind of allowed me to develop my own style on a skateboard. Now I don't feel like I think about this too much. I had to really think about these things when wanting to make this video, essentially. The sixth thing that can be taken out of context really quickly is having your friends and your peers kind of rubbing off on you. So like watching your friend do a certain trick, and if you liked how he did it, ask him how he did it. Like I would spend so many hours at skate parks asking my friends, like even how they tweaked their ollie just a little bit differently, or how they did a 5-0 and they kind of poked a little bit differently. Like even if you can do the trick that your friends can do or your peers can do, but they do it differently, maybe try to ask them how they're doing it differently, and then you can talk about how you do it. And having those conversations and just like messing around on your skateboarding, and skateboarding is just about fun, that is gonna allow you to get more efficient style, have more fluidity throughout your skateboarding, and understand how to do the tricks in different ways. So drawing inspiration from your friends as well as outside inspiration. I think drawing inspiration from your friends could even be better at times. Like I luckily was surrounded by skateboarders that were really good. We were all kind of progressing at the same level. And what was cool about it is like, I saw my friends doing tricks in a certain way. I was like, wow, I want a frontside air like that. I don't want a stink bug. I want to grab behind the leg because that looks a lot better. And then doing it that way, not to copy them or mimic them, because that's pretty lame to just like do it and copy someone, but because it genuinely interested me more. It looked like a more fun way to execute the trick. The seventh thing I have is really important, and I had a lot of people telling me this, because I think like when I was younger, style was really crucial to me, and I always was like asking people how to get good style and things like that, because like I said, it wasn't very good in the very beginning. So this tip is just letting it develop and letting it happen over time and not rushing it too much, because I think sometimes people try to rush to how they want to look on a skateboard or how they want a trick to be done. You really have to just let that come naturally. Putting in a lot of time and constantly going and riding your skateboard is going to allow your style to develop over time. So as much as like this video is about how I developed my style and the steps that I think kind of subconsciously curate your style, I don't think you should focus too much on it and focus on all the other things, and your style will come within time. Now, the eighth thing I have is like really narcissistic probably, but because I love filming and editing videos, it is watching yourself on the skateboard and seeing how you look when you're doing tricks. And I did this a lot when I was younger, like trying to learn airs, for example. I thought I was going like 5 feet high over coping, and then I'd see the clip and be like, wait, I'm under coping and I'm grabbing too early. So, you know, not psychoanalyzing yourself, because like you may not enjoy skateboarding if you're doing that, but like think about how you're doing tricks, go back and watch how you're doing it. It is going to allow you to do it in a way that you want it to look. You know, that could sound crazy, but at the end of the day, like the result of skateboarding is just to have fun, but also to do it in the way that you enjoy it and that you want it to look. So watching your footage, photos, things like that, I always point, like every photo I have like a finger pointing. It's crazy. And I can never get rid of that. I used to have this crazy thing. My friends would call me like the TRX arm. Like I'd skate around like this, like all those things. Like I had to intentionally stop that. That was like one that I had to like skate with a fist. So because I did this so much, TRX, and I started skating with a fist. And then eventually I was able to just kind of let my hand go. Now it's like kind of just pointing sometimes. So yeah, those little nuances, if you watch yourself, you can kind of see what you're doing and maybe perfect it if you want to, or just run with it if it's goofy and fun. Now, the ninth and final thing I would say is constantly balancing previous experiences and trying the hardest tricks that I know multiple times. For the video part that I recently put out, almost every trick I did multiple times. There's a very few tricks where I just landed it once, because whenever I do a trick, I want to do it in the way that I really want, and I want to perfect it and do it in the style that I really want. That is something that can kind of bite you in the ass at the same time, because you don't want to put too much expectations on yourself. Again, this is starting to sound bad now I think about with all these expectations. That's not the point of this video. These are like subconscious things that are normally going on, but maybe if you do know about them, you can just allow them to happen. But yeah, really trying your hardest tricks and like trying to do them in the best possible way that you can and perfecting them. I think that really helps. So hope you guys enjoy this quick little video on the process of me developing my skateboard style over the last 20 years. It's been fun. I love skateboarding. I love all you beautiful people. Make sure you smash that like button if you enjoy this video. Talking about style, a little bit different kind of a format for this one. Subscribe if you're not already, and we'll see you in the next one. Mash.